Welcome to the NRL previews for round 24 of the 2023 season. I'm Renee Gartner and I'm joined by Josh Mansour to unpack all the games for this weekend. 4 weeks left of the regular season and the top 8 battle has absolutely heated up since last week. We kick off on Thursday night with a must-win clash for Manly as they try to keep their top 8 dreams alive, taking on the Panthers, who are sitting on top of the ladder. Josh, to Manly first, they need to win this one, if not both of the next 2, to actually have a chance in the finals. They have been ravaged by injury.
Very daunting task, and the same old story with Manly. It's just inconsistencies, unfortunately, not putting the points on the board and then coming up with a win. Big task against Penrith this week. You know, Penrith are absolutely flying, and there's a bit of a scary state out there. Panthers do love playing against Manly. I know personally when I was at Penrith, so it will be an interesting game. It's do or die for Manly, in my opinion. So, and for Panthers, they just want to kind of retain that confidence and hopefully win that minor premiership towards
Well, they do. And over to the Panthers, there's a lot of pressure on Ivan's men, and I know there was a stat you were talking about as well too. Manly haven't beaten Panthers since 2018. But
I remember that game too.
Yeah, I don't want to hear about it. It's going to take a lot for them to derail the Panthers. Can it be done, or...?
Like I said, the task is pretty big. The thing about the Panthers is that you can't play to their game. And when they're coming to their game, it's their grinding. They love to go arm wrestle, in that arm wrestle, end-to-end footy. The possession game is so crucial for this game, particularly for the Manly Eagles. So a lot of pressure is going to be on Cherry Evans' shoulders. They're coming up against the King. Nathan Cleary's possesses one of the best kicking games in the comp. So again, there's going to be a lot of pressure on their back three, particularly their middle forwards. And again, they've got to really figure outside the box, and they've just got to pull the trigger whenever the opportunity presents itself, in my opinion.
All right, so you think Panthers?
I think Panthers.
No doubt, no doubt?
No doubt, no doubt.
Oh, ouch. All right, thank you so much. Unmissable matchups are taking place all weekend. If you want to see this match live, head to nrl.com/tickets. If you can't get to the game, you can watch it on Channel 9, Foxtel, Sky New Zealand or KO. Kick-off is at 7:50 p.m. Welcome to the NRL previews for round 24 of the 2023 season. I'm Renee Gartner and I'm joined by Josh Mansour to unpack all the games for this weekend. 4 weeks left. Crazy. The competition has never been tighter for that battle in the top 8. It's insane. It's
crazy. I actually saw the ladder not long ago and I was like, wow, this is very congested. There's a big traffic jam through the middle there. So it's crazy as well. Canberra sitting at 5th with that point differential. So it'll be interesting times in the next couple of weeks. Yeah, and we'll be unpacking that preview a little bit later on. Let's have a look at the Sharks and Titans right now, though. And the Sharks returned to their early form last week. They claimed a great scalp in South. Do you see them backing up this week? Because there was like a short little portion of that game, I think it was like 10 minutes, where they sort of fell, and that's where they leaked some tries. Yeah, well, they came out of the blocks really fast, and you know they weren't coming up against slouches. You know, South Sydney is one of the most potent attacking sides in the comp, so it was always going to be a test in the defence, and they just scraped home, which is awesome, and they finally got the monkey off the back. And you know, they had a bit of lacking of consistency, and they had a bit of confidence that hit them. But you know, this was an awesome try from Marwane, and Trindle I thought has been outstanding as soon as he's come in that number 6 jersey. So for me, I feel like they've really started to gel nicely, and finally it's all about getting that win on the board, and I feel like they got their confidence back. And they're going to want to do it for Wade as well too. Wade Graham's announced his retirement from the game. Massive announcement. Congratulations, Wado. What a career. You know, a handful of games for Penrith and a monster amount of games for the Cronulla Sharks. So he'll definitely go down as one of the legends of that club, and I'm sure they'll want to go out and set him on a high towards the end of the year as well. All right. Well, they are up against the Titans. We spoke about AJ Brimson. He had an abdominal injury and then it became an oblique injury that ruled him out last minute last week at the warm-up, basically. Yeah. They've now said it's a rib injury, so they lose him. It's going to be a big loss, but they have the luxury of Jaden Campbell going into that back line. Yeah, he's an absolute freak. So very unfortunate for AJ Brimson, and particularly for his injury. So it's an injury where he's got to rest. You know, it's something that you can't just jab. So that's unfortunate for him, but he's just going to have to take his time and, you know what, rest assured that they've got Jaden Campbell at the back who's been playing outstanding as of late, and he adds a lot of X factor there just as much as AJ Brimson does. Well, and 2 big ins as well too. They get the captain back in Big Tino. Big is the word. Jamin Jolliffe as well, played against him in the World Cup against Ireland. Put a good shot on me, so thank you, Jamin. But massive couple of ins for the Titans, and just adds a bit of a starch into their go forward. All right, Josh, who are you picking in this one then? A lot to play for the Sharks. I'm going to go with the Sharkies, full of confidence at the moment, and the announcement of Wade Graham, I'm sure the boys will go out there and do their best for him. All right, thank you very much. Unmissable matchups taking place all weekend. If you want to see the match live, head to nrl.com/tickets. If you can't get to the game, you can watch it on Foxtel, Sky New Zealand or KO. Kick-off is at 6 p.m.
Welcome to the NRL previews for round 24 of the 2023 season. I'm Renee Gardner and I'm joined by Josh Mansour to unpack all the games for this weekend. Next game sees the Broncos hoping to claim the minor premiership up against the Eels, and it's at the Gabba on Friday night. Josh, they're bolstered by the return of Adam Reynolds, Kobe Hetherington. They both missed last week's clash against the Cowboys. They seem to have gone to another level since this side came very close in Darwin.
Well, Broncos up there is always going to be a hard challenge, isn't it? Particularly for Parramatta Eels, it's all or nothing at the moment for them, and they're coming up against a star-studded backline against like the Broncos, so it's going to be a huge task. And we saw last week with Parramatta conceded a lot of points on the edges there, but Dylan Brown was back for him last week. Hopefully, he's got a bit more confidence leading into this game, but again, it's not going to be easy with the announcement of Adam Reynolds back into this team.
Yeah, well, let's go into the Eels now. They're sitting in ninth. There's a lot of pressure on them at the moment, particularly in containing this Broncos outfit. And you spoke about a couple of players that had some big games last week.
Yep.
But up against the Broncos, it's kind of a different kettle of fish, isn't it?
Well, they've got a lot of pressure on their shoulders at the moment. The pressure of making the eight and the pressure of beating the Broncos. So it is going to be a big task. They do have a couple of personnel that hopefully will be back in the next couple of weeks, like Maker Silva and Regan Campbell-Gillard. But for me, it's their edge defence. They've really got to shut down those tries. Ravilava scored 4 tries on that edge last week, so the left edge really needs to aim up. Dylan Brown obviously being back, helping his halves partner Mitch Moses, taking a lot of pressure off his shoulders is going to help. So again, I feel like it's going to be a big game. I don't feel like the Parramatta Eels will roll over for this one. Yeah. But again, it's all or nothing here. They really got to come out firing.
Now, social media is a beautiful beast, and I did see you having dinner with a particular player from the Eels over the evening.
Yeah.
Did we get any insight? How's he feeling? What's the vibe?
A bit of insight, yeah. I think the biggest thing I got out of the chat with Mitch was having Dylan Brown back. Like I said, it adds a lot of, takes a lot of pressure off his shoulders. Dylan's running game is very important to the Parramatta Eels, particularly down that left edge. And I thought Dylan made some really important tackles in return for the Eels last week. So again, it's not going to get easier for him. He's just got to really aim up, and hopefully, a few show and goes against the Broncos will help the Parramatta Eels get home.
Geez, you've got that trust with Mitch because you have not leaked a single thing there. So well done. All right, thank you very much. We'll try harder next time. Unmissable matchups taking place all weekend. If you want to see this match live, head to nrl.com/tickets. Welcome to the NRL previews for round 24 of the 2023 season. I'm Renee Gardner and I'm joined by Josh Mansour to unpack all the games for this weekend, and we get the thumbs up from the Wiggles man over here.
I don't know why I did that.
Neither do I. But Saturday afternoon begins on South taking on the Dragons in Cairns as South continues their Australian tour. South are another team who are in a very precarious position on the ladder at the moment. This game against the Dragons could actually prove to be a bit of a danger and a way to get their mojo on track at the same time. Yeah,
a lot of pressure on the shoulders of the South Sydney Rabbitohs at the moment. I'm not too sure if this Australian tour is actually doing them too much justice. A lot of travel is definitely not going to be helping them, particularly this time of the season. But saying that, last week was a pretty disappointing performance against the Sharks. I feel like they came into that game and were ambushed very early in the stage of that game. They weren't really click with that attack. That's one thing that's their biggest strength. And Latrell did get a bit frustrated at times, but overall, I think the biggest thing for me was they did have their fight back. They did have their effort in there, and not only that, their discipline. So many missed tackles. I think they completed 66% of the game, and you're not going to win a football game if you're completing that low. So if they can fix their discipline, the handling areas, and make those tackles, I think it goes a long way and win this game.
All right, Josh, over to the Dragons, and you're one man who can comment very well on this situation. What could you say about Michaela Ravilava? Quite a few tries. You've done that before.
Yeah, he's like a brick to tackle, to be totally honest. And he's one of the greatest finishers. He's actually one of the shining lights for the Dragons this year. And look at this outstanding finish. 2 guys breaking those tackles, and he has been an outstanding player for him for a few years now. But this year, personally, I think that's been his breakout season. And the opposite winger actually got switched at half time. And it actually didn't help their cause. So Ravilava, he's been outstanding, and he'll definitely be looked upon to score a few more tries this week.
4 tries, almost 5. What's the most you've bagged in a game?
3.
3. Oh,
so he's got me there. So.
All right. We'll move on from that.
Thanks for that.
Sorry. Dragons have pushed sides over the last couple of weeks, and you can tell by the frustration of the coaching staff. There's things that might not have gone their way. They know they're capable of it, and they're just trying to push it over. Do you think this is a game where they can potentially click over into that next gear?
Well, like I said before, this is a massive danger game for Souths. Last time they played each other, Dragons got that win. They are, there has been a few people this year laying the boot of the Dragons, and I feel like this is a perfect opportunity to kind of go up there and get a massive scalp against the South Sydney Rabbitohs. The last week and the last couple of weeks, I should say, they have been playing with effort. They have been playing with heart. They just haven't been getting the wins, unfortunately. So, for me personally, that's a massive positive sign for the Dragons, considering everything that's happened to them this year. And I'm sure the players really want to finish on a positive note. And of course, with Shane Flanagan coming next season, gives them a bit of a head start and leapfrog into that team next year.
All right, give it a pick.
Again, I feel like it's a danger game, but with the performance last week from South, I feel like they really want to make amends for that, and I'm going to back the home side.
All right, of course you are. Thank you very much, Josh. Unmissable matchups taking place all weekend. If you want to see this match live, head to nrl.com/tickets. If you can't get to the game, you can watch it on Foxtel, Sky New Zealand or KO, and kick-off is at 3 p.m. Welcome to the NRL previews for round 24 of the 2023 season. I'm Renee Gardner, and joining me to unpack the next game is Josh Mansour. Now, this game is a home game, but with a little bit of a difference. The West Tigers are taking their game to New Zealand in Hamilton to take on the Warriors. It's very different meaning to it, isn't it?
Beautiful part of the world.
It is.
I was fortunate enough to play there myself a couple of years back, and again, for the Tigers, it has been a bit of a home game for them as of the last couple of years. So obviously, very exciting time. So last week, obviously disappointed not getting the win, but I feel like they had a lot of fight in them. That is a perfect example. I thought they had the game in the bag there. Obviously, a bit of indecision by Nofaluma, which was unfortunate. But again, I feel like the biggest positive for the Tigers right now is that they're not laying over for any team. They are fighting to the last minute, and it's not going to be any different this week, in my opinion.
Well, it's two total polar opposites for the team. You've got one trying to avoid the wooden spoon, and the Warriors obviously trying to stay in that top four. You've been in a position before where you've played in a team that haven't quite made the finals. What is Sheens, what is Farah, your mate, and Benji all doing right now, and what are they looking for from that side in the next couple of weeks?
Well, your last couple of games towards the end of the season, that's going to set your foundation for the upcoming season. So everyone that's going out there and putting in their best is just going to shape them up for that pre-season leading into next season. So in my opinion, there's still a lot to play for the Tigers. Yes, they want to avoid the dreaded wooden spoon like every other team does. So in my opinion, there is still a lot to play for. The players are going to go out there and do their best. No player goes out there to kind of lay down and want to lose a game. So for me, again, it's going to be an exciting trip. It's going to New Zealand. Hopefully they can really mesh together, bond together, and then come up with a big performance against the Warriors, but it's not going to be easy. No,
it's not going to be. And I mean, over to the Warriors, the next remaining 4 games for them are against teams outside of that top 8. They're looking to set up for a double chance, I guess, in September as well too. All their players are really firing. I mean, they may have dropped a game a couple of weeks ago against us in New Zealand, but they've been on top of their game since.
Well, this is the dangerous thing about the Warriors. So, like you said, they're playing all the teams in the bottom 8, so they're not really coming up against teams that are going to be playing that final style footy and playing with that form. So the teams that are at the bottom are just playing all or nothing footy, so a bit unscripted, hard to preview. But the biggest thing for the Warriors, it keeps them on their game. They've got to respect the opposition, and hopefully they can string in a few wins. And like you said, they're coming up against teams that are at the bottom of the ladder, so they are expected to win. But the biggest thing for that and the biggest danger with that is if you don't respect the teams, that they can get jammed, you get your pants pulled down.
And are you also saying that the danger also is by playing teams in that top 8, their form is going to be a bit of a shock going into that the top 8 series?
100%, yeah. So in a top 4 position, they are sitting pretty comfortably on the ladder, but you want to be coming up against hard oppositions, to be battle hard and ready for those final games. So I've got no doubt they're going to be ready. The Warriors have shown that they have been very resilient this year. So again, Andrew Webster's been outstanding. He's really changed that team, and again, with vintage Sean Johnson steering the ship, I'm sure they're not going to be any surprises in the next couple of games. All
right, are you going to be surprised by the result in this? Are you picking?
I'm going the Wires.
Okay. Kind of am too. All right. Thank you so much, Josh. Unmissable matchups taking place all weekend. If you want to see this match live, head to nrl.com/tickets. If you can't get to the game, you can watch it on Foxtel, Sky New Zealand or KO. Kickoff is at 5:30 p.m. Welcome to the NRL previews for round 24 of the 2023 season. I'm Renee Gardner and I'm joined by Josh Mansour to unpack all the games this weekend. 4 weeks left in the regular season. Top 8, the battle is heating up. And Saturday night we head to Allianz Stadium for the Roosters and Dolphins. 6 months on from the first encounter where the Dolphins well and truly upset the apple cart. It was insane.
Unforgettable.
Exactly. Unforgettable for both the Dolphins and the Roosters. But the Roosters are still battling with a lot of inconsistencies in their game. They lose Nathan Brown, and we get Dylan Napa back as well too. What kind of difference is that going to make to the side?
Both are pretty hotheads. I think everyone knows that. But the biggest thing for Dylan Napa, hasn't played NRL since 2021. Yeah. So, that's a bit of an alarming stat. Obviously, very unfortunate for Nathan Brown not to be in that team. I thought he had a lot of fire off that bench, a lot of impact. But again, it is what it is. So for the Roosters, they are sitting, in the bottom 8, and they have to win pretty much all their games going forward. So they did get beaten by the Dolphins in that round 1 clash, which was very surprising for all of us. But again, last week was a perfect performance in my opinion. They really went out there and did their thing, and it's the old Roosters of late. And also with the 10-year reunion of their grand final.
Well, it's a way to pick them up.
Which is pretty outstanding, and hopefully they can get another win this week.
Yeah, well, they're two totally different teams to what we saw in that first match as well too. Can they put the sword to the Dolphins, though, to a degree? I mean, I know they've had a lot of injuries, there's been a lot of drama, but this could be a game where they're already under the collar and it's just a matter of poking the bear.
I still feel like it's an even game, to be totally honest. Both sides have inconsistencies with injuries, players getting chopped and changed. So I feel like it's a pretty fair advantage for both teams here. And again, the Dolphins having to travel, they did get them in round 1. Jermaine and Saka has been outstanding all year on that right edge. So but the Dolphins do possess a lot of friends on their side. You've got the hammer, you've got Saka playing outstanding. Cody Nikarima has been playing very well as well. So I feel like the Dolphins do like their chances. They will go back to the drawing board when they first beat the Roosters at round 1 clash. So you know what? They do have the weapons to possess a good win here. So we'll have to wait and see.
All right. Are you going to pick one?
Again, it's pretty even. I do like the Roosters. I feel like the Roosters got a lot more to play for, particularly playing at home. So I'm going to go the Roosters. Okay,
all right. You've heard it here first. You stick with the Roosters. He's dropped his fins up, which he's been on all year. Unmissable matchups taking place all weekend. If you want to see this match live, head to nrl.com/tickets. If you can't get to the game, you can watch it on Channel 9, Foxtel, Sky New Zealand, or KO. And kick-off is at 7:35 p.m. Welcome to the NRL previews for round 24 of the 2023 season. I'm Renee Gardner and I'm joined by Josh Mansour to unpack all the games from this weekend. We're so close. It's the Sunday games. The next game is two very tightly contested teams with the Storm just ahead by 1 position on the ladder. They've been far from consistent lately, but they want to make amends for last week. We did say it was going to be a blockbuster game. They fell a little bit short of what we were
expecting. So the Melbourne Storm are definitely licking their wounds after last week's performance against the Panthers. They were definitely outplayed, but there are positives in every game. And Pappenhausen obviously playing 40 minutes for the Sunshine Falcons, which was outstanding. Harry Grant was outstanding in the losing side, and the big ins for me is Jerome Hughes is back, and you got Coates back on that edge there. So there are a couple of ins, a couple of positives for the Melbourne Storm, and we always say it: the Melbourne Storm don't lose 2 in a row.
No, that's been debunked this year, though, hasn't it?
I don't think it has. Well, maybe I have to double check that.
All right, well, over to the Raiders. They've scrapped their way throughout this year, and we always expect that from the Raiders as well too, but they do love playing in Melbourne. We remember the big Ricky Stewart image of him standing sideline when they've made it 5 in a row down in Melbourne. They love it.
It's a crazy stat, and playing in Melbourne is a very scary job to do. It's a bit of a fortress at Amy Park, and but the Raiders really love flourishing. They flourish and play really well down there, but again, the task isn't going to be easy. When you look at the ladder, 4th and 5th, and the Raiders with that point differential, it's going to prove crucial towards the back end of the season. So I know one thing about these two sides, they really rely on their forwards for their go forward. You've got big boppers in both sides, but again, it's whoever wins the middle that goes a long way and win this game.
All right, who wins the middle then?
Oh, it's a tough one. Again, with the Raiders, they love playing scrappy, like you said, just as much as the Storm. But just because the Storm are playing at home, I'm going to go the Melbourne Storm.
Because they can't lose 2 in a row.
And
cliche. All right, thank you, Josh. Unmissable matchups taking place all weekend. If you want to see this match live, head to nrl.com/tickets. And if you can't get to this game, you can watch it on Foxtel, Sky New Zealand, or KO. Kickoff is at 2 p.m. Welcome to the NRL previews for round 24 of the 2023 season. I'm Renee Gardner and I'm joined by Josh Mansour to unpack all the games for this weekend. And we wrap up the round on Sunday, and the Knights will be looking to continue their role in front of a home crowd against the Bulldogs, who are fresh off a bye. They now have won 5 of their past 6, and the only team they've lost to has been the Panthers at the top. Can they continue?
I think so. I feel like they're really playing with a lot of confidence at the moment, and it's been that one man, Kalen Ponga, who's been really changing the dynamic of their attack. Again, like in my opinion, the Knights are sitting pretty comfortably on the ladder, but they need to win every game leading into the finals from here to be very safe. So again, Dominic Young has been outstanding. He's got enormous pace, and Dane Gagai has been playing outstanding inside him as well. So for me, I feel like there's a lot to play for in this game. I know they're playing the Bulldogs, but again, they just got to win every single game leading towards the finals. All
right, well, let's head over to the Bulldogs now. Again, another team who are playing for pride, looking to 2024. How will they be focusing on this week and coming into the finals in general? I know you're good friends with Ciraldo. Yeah. What's that sort of mood and environment like there?
In my opinion, I feel like the last few games definitely set up for next year. So I know Ciro will be definitely pushing that. I know he's got a lot of confidence in his men, and he will be pushing. I know one thing about Ciro, he wants to go out there and always win a footy game, no matter what. No matter how many injuries he got, he always gives his men every possible chance to win the game and make sure they're best prepared. So that's not going to be any different this week. They do have some exciting news. They've got a couple of great signings next year as well. So they're going to have a pretty good side next year, and a lot to play for in terms of playing positions. So going out there this week is not going to be an easy task. You know, it's always hard to play Newcastle in Newcastle, but I think the Bulldogs can get it done if they really come up with a good game plan.
Again, drawing on your experience of playing in a team before that hasn't made the finals, when it does get to this stage and finals is no longer in contention, is there a bit of a monkey off the back and you do start playing that little bit more free-flowing footy and relax?
That's the biggest threat for the sides that are playing for finals footy, definitely. You know, you definitely play a bit more freer. You know, you're not constantly thinking in the back of your head, you know, it's do or die. Yeah. The biggest thing for the Bulldogs, they want to avoid the wooden spoon. They are playing for positions next year, the players, and again, they want to come into the pre-season with a bit of positive and you know, a bit of confidence of what's expected for next year. So for me, these next few games are really, really important for the Bulldogs. They are shaping to be a very, very strong side next year. But again, they have to win a few more games until that happens. All
right, so there's more of a danger game for the Knights than the Bulldogs. Who wins?
I definitely feel like the Knights shouldn't drop their guard in this game. Bradman Best isn't playing, so that does hinder their attack a little bit. But I think with Kalen Ponga there, I feel like it goes a long way in winning the game for the Knights, and I think they got a lot to play for.
All right, well, thank you for unpacking another round with me. Appreciate it.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Always a pleasure to have a chore, mate. All right, unmissable matchups taking place all weekend. If you want to see this match live, head to nrl.com/tickets. If you can't get to the game, you can watch it on Channel 9, Foxtel, Sky New Zealand, or KO. Kickoff is at 4:05 p.m.